The office was quiet that evening, the usual bustle replaced by a calm stillness. I had spent years working tirelessly at this company, always hoping my efforts would be rewarded. But recently, I couldn't ignore the pattern. Promotions seemed to follow those who grew closer to Richard, our confident and enigmatic boss. The realization had left me torn between frustration and curiosity. After months of feeling overlooked, I decided to confront him. Richard greeted me with his signature calm demeanor, leaning back in his chair as though he had been expecting me. "I've worked hard here, and I deserve a promotion," I stated firmly. He studied me for a moment, his eyes calculating. "I agree," he said finally, "but promotions aren't just about hard work. Sometimes they require trust." The weight of his words lingered in the air, and I found myself caught between uncertainty and intrigue. "What kind of trust?" I asked hesitantly. His lips curved into a faint smile. "The kind that proves you're willing to step outside your comfort zone," he replied. "If you want this, stay after hours." The hours passed slowly, tension building as the office emptied. When I finally walked into Richard's office that evening, the dim light cast long shadows across the room, making it feel strangely intimate. He approached me with deliberate steps, his presence commanding yet oddly reassuring. "Trust me," he said softly, his tone steady and calm. The sincerity in his voice dissolved the last remnants of my hesitation. He reached out, his fingers brushing lightly against my arm. It was such a subtle touch, yet it sent a ripple through me, a warmth that settled beneath my skin. As he stepped closer, the space between us disappeared. His hand moved to my shoulder, the weight of it grounding yet electrifying. "You're remarkable," he murmured, his voice low but sure. His eyes locked onto mine, holding a silent intensity that made the room feel smaller, as though nothing else existed beyond this moment. When his lips finally met mine, it wasn't rushed or forceful. It was deliberate, as if testing unspoken boundaries. The softness of his touch contrasted with the quiet intensity in his gaze, drawing me further into a moment that felt both inevitable and surreal. Every movement felt measured, intentional, as though we were exploring an uncharted territory neither of us had dared to acknowledge before. Time seemed to blur as the world outside the office faded into irrelevance. Each gesture deepened the connection. Each glance carried an unspoken understanding. For the first time in years, I allowed myself to surrender, not to him, but to the moment, to the raw simplicity of feeling. When it was over, Richard stepped back, his expression calm but thoughtful. "You're remarkable," he repeated, his voice steady. The sincerity in his tone caught me off guard, and I found myself nodding, unable to speak. Walking home that night, the cool air hit my face, grounding me in reality even as my thoughts drifted back to what had transpired. The memory of his words and the intensity of the evening lingered as I entered my apartment. My husband glanced up from the couch, his face warm and familiar. "How was your day?" he asked casually. I hesitated, offering a small smile. "It was different," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. As I lay in bed that night, I reflected on what had happened. It wasn't guilt I felt, nor was it relief. It was something far more complex, a mix of discovery and uncertainty. Some experiences defy simple explanations, leaving us changed in ways we may never fully understand. If you enjoyed this story and want more captivating tales, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create even more stories just for you.